we can actually expand our awareness to where we notice that we are separate from these feelings. Feelings aren't facts. They're just something that we use to assign a label to what it is that we're experiencing. What we're feeling is just physiological. So my advice to all people is the more that you can expand your awareness, the more that you are going to able to have more information for how you want to move forward.
Today's guest is Stephanie Breitenstein, founder of Humble Heart Counseling in Boise. She's a licensed clinical professional counselor in Idaho and a licensed professional counselor in Arizona, with more than 14 years walking alongside clients through life's hardest seasons. Stephanie got her start at a community counseling center in Show Low, Arizona, working with people of every age and background, including inpatient work with folks facing suicidal ideation, substance use, and serious mental health struggles. That early experience shaped the counselor she is today. She and her family moved to Boise in 2018, and she's been serving this community ever since. Her approach is all about helping people trust their own insight, cutting through outside noise and expectations so clients can reconnect with who they really are. She believes real growth starts with self-acceptance, not self-correction. Please welcome Stephanie Breitenstein. Okay, is it weird for you to hear it this way?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've done stuff like this?
Only a couple times. Yeah. So it's not intuitive for me, but that's the whole point, is to like challenge yourself, to lean into discomfort, and be willing to do something different.
Yeah. I would definitely want to hear about the Redwood experience as much as you want to tell.
Yeah.
I think nature is a huge part of mental health for me and for a lot of people. I think there's healing out there. So, yeah, talk to all of that you want to talk to.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the Redwoods, but I guess where things started for me when it comes to being in nature and kind of challenging myself. Well, I used to play sports as a kid, so there was always that aspect of things, right? But my family never grew up camping or being outside. It was like we were outside, but to play sports. And so when I got to college, I found a job with the Forest Service. And my first job with the Forest Service was a lookout. And I don't know if you're familiar with lookouts, but you just like sit in a tower and you look for smoke. And that was really interesting. And I really loved that it was a summer kind of thing. So I went back to school. The next summer I got a job in prevention. So I was a little bit more out into the field, where you're driving around in cars telling people to make sure you don't, start a fire right here. And then the following year I was on the engines. And that was a lot of fun. So it was an engine in Heber, Overguard, Arizona. And we were outside all the time. There was always some sort of something to do. There was a fire on district. We would go. And then that following year, though, was the year that I feel like I really started to challenge myself. Because there's nothing against being on an engine. I loved it. But you just kind of like drove to the fire. You would dig line. When you were done, you were done. And then that following year, I got on a hotshot crew. And are you familiar with the hotshot crews?
No.
So it's a group of, I want to say like maybe 22, mostly men typically, but there are a lot of women that are on there, just not as many as men. So it's a male dominated profession. And there's about 22 of us. We were on two different buggies sitting in the back. And we would essentially be sent to all the fires in which they were really difficult to get to.
Okay.
So we would park, we would hike for hours. We would go dig line. I would have dreams of just digging line constantly. And we'd be done late. We'd sit in the buggy on our way back to camp or wherever we were camping that night and just feeling completely exhausted, but mentally so wonderful, just because of all of the effort that you put forth through the hike and all the things that you really don't know that you can do until you actually get out and do them. And I always thought I was a slow hiker and hiking with the hot shots because I'm 5 foot tall. Okay. So I have little legs. Mm-hmm. And so when somebody would walk over a log, they'd just simply step over it. And here I am, like with my 40-pound pack, and I'm like trying to get over this big log. And so I'm not a slow hiker. I'm a decent hiker. I'm just a slow hot shot hiker. Okay. But I just remember that time really setting the stage for being outdoors and just really enjoying, like, it didn't matter if I was dirty. It was just loving experiencing all the things we got to experience. We got to go camp in Bryce Canyon, in a place where nobody got to camp, and in Zion as well. And I say we because that's where I met my husband. And so there was also that aspect of it. It was quite nice.
He was doing the same stuff?
Yeah. So he did that for years. And he might be a good person to talk to because he was a smoke jumper for many years. Yeah. He worked as a hotshot for many years. He has done that bike race, the Smoke and Fire. Okay. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Oh, it's just a 400-mile bike race. They go to like Stanley and come back.
I might have heard of that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He likes, we joke that he likes type 3 fun, where it's neither fun when you're doing it or later. Yeah. And like, so, yeah. So that was kind of my introduction. And so having the opportunity to go to the Redwoods last week, it was kind of nice because normally being outside, we're always the one doing things and whatnot. So this was a guided adventure. And so we were able to be taken care of. So there was a little bit less of the physical part of it. But we still got to ride our bikes in the Redwoods. We got to camp. Obviously, we got to go on the trails. We got to kayak down the Smith River. It was just incredible.
Nice. Yeah.
And I think those memories are going to be something that just continue to stay with me and my kids for forever.
Yeah. And you'd never seen it before, you said? Or?
We camped there once many years ago. Okay. Just kind of, it was a fluke. We were driving down the coast and we ended up camping in the Redwoods, and it was wonderful one night, and then we had to continue on. So we didn't get a chance to stay there for very long, but we really loved it. And I feel like I've always been called to the woods. I always want to live in the forest and haven't quite gotten there yet, but
yeah. Well, it's such a different type of forest, not only the tree size, but I think the humidity and everything else versus our our forest over here.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's a pretty magical place.
It is.
And the Park Service put on a beautiful, program in the evening where we learned so much and it was really interesting. And so they are pretty fascinating, pretty magical trees.
Okay. So what made you guys want to do that this time?
We've always wanted to do this with our kids, be more outdoors. We grew, that Perry and my relationship was built on this foundation of being outside and being outdoors and doing hard things. And that was really important for us to instill in them. But it's difficult. You want to make sure that the kids want to keep doing it. And so there's an aspect of making sure it's not miserable, but challenging. And so
how did they respond? I'm curious.
They loved it. There was some parts that were really hard, and I was really proud of both my kids. We rigged up. It's like a tow behind type of thing that we could put one on one bike and hook it up to the kid's bike. And so there was a couple times where we had to do that, but they still had to be a part of it. And there was one climb where I'm pulling my daughter, who's as tall as me, up this incline, and I thought I was like, I don't think she's ever heard me make these noises before because I was so out of breath. Mm-hmm. But there's something really cool for me as a mom to be able to pull up my 10-year-old daughter and up a hill, even though, she was still trying and she was still working towards it. Yeah. It actually took me back to when I first had her and she was a baby and we were in the jogging stroller. And I remember running around the block and I was going so well. The day before, I had tried to do this run, and I was just like, man, you suck. Like, you're so slow. This is embarrassing. Why are you even doing this? Like, all the negative self-talk that comes with that. And then that following day, I took her in the stroller, and I'm like, look at you. You're amazing. You like, you're pushing a child. How amazing. And I had way more energy in that time where I was really amping myself up than I did the day before when I was trying to do it on my own. I was probably faster the day before. I remember this woman said to me, oh, I saw you walking up the hill with the stroller. And I was like, no, you saw me running up the hill with the stroller. And I would just remember that the difference in that self-talk and how it changes. It's just your performance or just what you think you're capable of.
Yeah. That's a real thing. Definitely. I was talking to another person, one of my other podcast guests, and they were saying how reframing when they're out there and they get to those points of just utter defeat, and reframing in their mind and going to more of a positive place helps them get through that. So.
Yeah. I recently did the City of Trees 10K, and I remember, I mean, in the past I've done races, and there's that, you can do it, don't stop, that kind of mentality that goes into it. And this time I was like, I have nothing to prove. And I just kept saying to myself, like, you can stop if you want to, but I think you can keep going. And by the end of it, I didn't have that extreme high that comes with, like when you conquer something and you're like, I did it. It was more of this gradual, like, yeah, of course you did it kind of feeling. And I think that plays with that. The purpose of exercise, the reason why people should exercise, there's probably many reasons, but is because it starts to build that long dopamine. It's that when you do hard things, is when you build that dopamine, and it actually doesn't go away as fast as when you're scrolling or doing easy things. Anything that you do that is hard is going to build that dopamine, and it stays with you for so much longer. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So you did that recently?
It was last October.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I feel like periodically I'll try and challenge myself in some sort of physical way.
Yeah. What I see of you is you're always trying to challenge yourself. Like, that's what I see most of the time.
I feel like everything, maybe not physically as much as I am, like, just emotionally and energetically trying to challenge myself and to see, like, oh, this feels really uncomfortable. Let's try and do that. Which I think goes to show, like, when you are doing an extreme sport or something that is hard, it's not comfortable. It never is. And honestly, if it was comfortable, you probably have to move on to the next step. My son said something that he saw from this YouTuber that says, in order to level up in real life, in IRL, you have to do hard things. And that's absolutely true. Like, whatever it is, emotionally, physically, and challenging yourself is when you start to feel that difference and level up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I like that. The question popped in my mind, like, what are some of the challenging things you're trying to accomplish right now?
Yeah. I want to build this practice in a way that people feel taken care of, that people feel valued. I want to be a place where that people know that they can come get help, even if it's not from us, that we can always direct them to the place that they can get help. I think we've built a really cool group of people here. And so I'm really protective of that. And I really want to continue to, the idea of growing, right? Like, I would like to grow, but really at some point, sometimes we have to slow down and really, it's like, I guess the best analogy I can think of is like pulling shoots before they become plants. It's like, oh, it sprouted. Okay, let's pull. And I don't want to grow too fast.
Okay.
I don't want to grow faster than what we are able to really develop. I want to build a great foundation here.
Yeah.
And then really see where it takes us. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I'll get glimmers once in a while. And then I know that's the direction I want to go in.
Yeah. Well, I've been really appreciative to be a part of that, to watch honestly, your vision has, what I've seen, created this in terms of what it looks like right now. And I've just been happy to be that I'm allowed to be on this ride.
Well, it's been really awesome. It's been really fun to to have you from being an intern. Actually, I remember the first time we met, and it was at that intern social. Mm-hmm. And we just chatted for a little bit. And so it's really cool just to see your growth and all the things that you've done. And I mean, again, at that point, when we first met, I had no idea that any of this was going to happen. So it's kind of fun to be like, I don't know what's going to happen from here on out. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling that as long as we continue to maintain that true north and like take care of each other and be like really protective of the quality of work that we're doing here too, mm-hmm. That's going to continue to do well. May not grow, it may just do well.
Yeah. I mean, increasing quality is also growth, I would throw. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We were just talking outside of this, and you were telling us about a way to move towards your dream life. Mm-hmm. Would you want to share that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is not mine. This is something that I've heard, but this is how I presented in session, that given a choice between two things, you choose the thing that's slightly more exciting, and you do that until you can no longer do it anymore. Because at some point there might be roadblocks and whatnot, and that's okay. And then you take, in that situation, the thing that is slightly more exciting. And when I say exciting, I think of like what you're curious about. Mm-hmm. So it could be a story you heard and you're like, I want to know more about that. It could be like, it could be anything. And in going towards that curiosity, you're really living your best life at all times. Mm. Because when we go in this I'll be happy when mentality, what we're doing is we're living based in obligation or based in, and now I don't want to shun logic, right? Like it has its place. But when you make decisions based in obligation and logic and what makes sense, it's not always what lights you up. It's just the thing you think you're supposed to be doing or expectation from other people, whatever that looks like. But if you're moving in the area of curiosity, you are enjoying your life the whole time. Mm. And so people get stuck in like, I'll be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I pay off this loan. I'll be happy when all of these things, I'll be happy when, and then it comes and we think that the thing that was making us unhappy, when it's no longer there, we think that all of a sudden our life is going to just magically turn into this beautiful thing. And that's not what happens. And so then we look to the next thing. Oh, well, it must be this thing. There's this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and I'm sure I've told you about this before. But he was a plastic surgeon, and he found that when people would come in and say, I have this vision for my life, and I'm so excited, and this will just help me move into that vision, they tended to do well. They healed well, all the things. Mm-hmm. But when people would come in and say, I need you to fix this because this is making me unhappy. If you just fix this, then I'll be happy. He found that people were just as depressed, if not more, because they no longer had that excuse of what made them unhappy.
Yeah.
So when you're living in this state of curiosity, you continue to build the life that you want because you're always engaged and you're always living in this state of excitement, and you never have to say like, oh, I'll be happy when, because you're happy now.
Yeah.
So I think of like the silly thing of going to the Redwoods last week. It was wonderful. Now I want to know all about, like, we went to those programs and I want to know all about the Redwoods and what's happening. And so that's going to be whatever. I have no idea how that'll help me in the future. I just know I love it right now. And that helps me right now. That feeds whatever it is that I need, that needs to be fed right now.
Yeah. It's really about, what I'm hearing there is like just being in and part of the world and being interested in it. Mm-hmm. Like whatever that is, because there's so much to experience.
Right. And when you just learn things based on because you think that you're supposed to, there's no excitement in any of that. How are you supposed to be passionate? How am I, as a counselor, supposed to help people if I'm just learning things for the sake of that don't interest me at all? What happens is I don't know how, but I'll use the redwoods at some point as a story of that I bring up in counseling to try and help explain something. I always do that. Like that to me is like the most fun part about being a counselor, is to use everyday things and how do I explain this in a way that it might resonate with somebody.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that that's what'll happen. I'll read something and I'll be like, I'm gonna bring that up next session.
Yeah.
So
I'm also curious that you mentioned that you were having some dreams about the redwoods since you've been there. And I love stuff about dreams and what that means for a person. And what, do you care to share any of that?
You know, they're not very, they're not vivid in the sense of like a storyline or anything like that. I just remember when I was there, I can think back to moments where I was very present and I was looking and I was just in awe. And these dreams have that same feeling. It's almost as though I'm like very present in the dreams. I'm looking at the base of the tree and just the intricacies of everything. And I'm just there. And it feels so light in my dream. So I would call it a good dream, even though there's nothing crazy happens. There's no storyline. But I feel like I've been getting some really good sleep since I've been back.
That's awesome. I feel like I can go there with you. So my thought is about consciousness and what that means and do you have thoughts on that?
I mean, like I have many thoughts on that. Any specific thing about consciousness?
Yeah, I guess what do you think it is first, and then maybe just whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big question. When I think of consciousness, I think that there is this part of me that already knows everything. There's that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that already knows like what I'm capable of, what I want, or what is going to actually light me up, or what a happy life could possibly look like. And it speaks to me through my intuition, and my intuition never really has to make sense. It just, most people aren't willing to listen. And I think that in that consciousness, you can call it whatever you want, right? People have all sorts of names. They could say God, they could say the universe, they could say my higher self. It really doesn't matter what name you give it, whatever feels comfortable to you. But it's more of like knowing this interconnected way of being with other people. Like I think of the redwoods, right? The redwoods roots, they don't grow down very deep. They maybe grow about 10 feet, but they interlace with all the redwoods around them. So they grow out very long. And so unfortunately, when one redwood falls, say a windstorm or whatnot, it sometimes takes down a few other trees as well because they are so connected. Okay. But I think fungus works the same way. Mushrooms work the same way. They're very interconnected. And I think that that's the same. It's just mimicking. See, I told you I can use anything. So that kind of mimics what I think is that when you do well, I do well. And when somebody is not doing well, I'm not doing well. We are connected. And how can I look at somebody as somebody that's a part of me in a sense, as opposed to somebody that is separate?
Yeah.
The more that we separate, I think the more we see difficult things happening in this world. But when you care about other people, when you notice the connectiveness, when you know that if they fall down, you're going to fall down too, then you're able to make choices that are going to be more in alignment with the betterment of humanity as opposed to just yourself.
Right.
I think thinking about just yourself is very much in that scarcity mindset of like, oh, I need to make sure I'm safe. But if we make sure that we're all safe,
that includes you.
That includes you. Yeah. So
100%. Yeah. I was talking with Nick about his business, and my question for him was, does he get together with the other, gym owners in the area? Do they talk? I was just curious about that. And he said they do. They get together quite often. And he was like, his mindset was that there's enough for us to all eat, kind of a thing. And that speaks directly to that, right? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be competition. We can cooperatively help each other through all of it.
There's so many people who need help out there, and there's so many counselors that have different excitements, things that and so being able to, I say excitements, and you can call them specialties, whatever, but I feel as though being able to help people find the right person for them, like that just means that they're going to hopefully feel better, and feel like they can cope differently, which then spreads out to the people around them, which then spreads out to, it'll eventually get back to me at some point. I'm sure somebody's going to do something very nice for me at some point, just because I was doing something nice for somebody else. And so to me, taking an extra 5 minutes to help somebody look up a counselor or find somebody that's closer to them or that does take a certain insurance that we don't, it's not 5 minutes of my time is not, to me, it's like, of course we should do that.
Yeah.
So
I like that. Okay. There was another thought, and this goes so quickly sometimes. I want to back up a little bit. So when we just started, I didn't actually start how I would normally start, and that's to be like, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show. And that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. But I would like to back up in terms of what got you into counseling. So I know a little bit now, more than I knew before. You did some work out in the nature, and that's where you met your husband and all of that. But what led you to counseling?
Well, I think I always wanted to be, I didn't know, I mean, I knew this existed, but I limiting self, beliefs and whatnot, didn't know if I was really capable of that. I graduated with a bachelor's in psychology and criminal justice. Didn't know what I wanted to do. So that's when I went to work for the Forest Service on the engine. And then still kind of didn't really know. I mean, I think I always kind of knew, but didn't know how to get there. And then worked on the hotshot crew. And then my husband broke up with me. I mean, we were dating at the time. He broke up with me. We were only dating for a short time, right? But during that time, it almost jolted me into this, oh my, what am I doing? Like, I'm just like following this guy around. Like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. So I had one of those, you can call it whatever you want. It could be a crisis. It could be a dark night of the soul, like whatever feels good. But I had a moment where I drove from Arizona to Texas to visit my sister. And on that drive, I signed up for a half marathon. A half marathon. I'd never run that long before. And I applied for school. I took the GRE, did all the things. And shortly after we got back together. And so I really feel like it was necessary for him to break up with me, because the universe was telling me like, all right, hey, I get it. You're enjoying things right now, but we need things to change. Sorry, I didn't mean to. You need to move into a different direction. And so that jolt helped me recalibrate my life and where I was going. Okay. And so, we shortly after got back together, and I remember taking the GRE, and I remember running the half marathon, and he was driving me to the airport, and I was like, you did this. I'm doing this half marathon because of you. And so, but yeah, that's kind of what really got me into counseling. I went to Arizona State University in their program. And when I graduated, I worked for an agency for a while, and up in Eastern Arizona. Okay. And it was a small town, so I learned a lot about mental health in the rural community, which is completely different than what you're taught in school or in a larger city.
How so?
I would say that there are certain, I don't want to say boundaries, but I guess it would be boundaries. There's certain things that are blurry because you are in such a small town. So if I walked into the store, I would probably see about 5 clients. There's dual relationship, and the dual relationships, what I mean by that is like, you might have to, if you work for an agency and it's in a small town, you might be seeing several siblings. You might be seeing, like, and they may not know, I'm sure they do. Like you might be seeing best friends and like somebody's talking about somebody and you know who they're talking about because somebody else talked about them. So all sorts of things. It's such a small town. You just have to really learn how to compartmentalize and to make sure that you maintain your own ethical integrity, because it could be really easy to blur those lines if you're not really intentional about it.
Wow, that's crazy. I can't even imagine.
I would just sit in the car at grocery stores. It's like, I can't go in. Like, I'm going to see too many people I know. So
I'm really grateful for our ethics in terms of that, because I have seen people out there, and it's nice to not feel pressure of like, oh, I need to say something, and I don't. And then if they come up to me, that's great. But yeah, absolutely. Most of the time they don't, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think that is. I think sometimes clients don't think that they're allowed to, and I mean, because even though we say like, hey, in public, I'm not allowed to say hi, I think in their mind they think they're not allowed to say hi either. So sometimes I'll throw in you can say hi to me if you want. Just know that if I'm not going out of my way, I'm just not allowed to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. With agency work, did you like it? I guess that's it.
I think it was really, this is a diplomatic answer. I think it was really informative. I learned so much, and and then it ended with me not feeling like I wanted to be a counselor anymore. So that's where we find ourselves in those positions of like, oh, this is not lighting me up. I guess this is, but doing it out of obligation, right? So I didn't think that I was capable of doing a private practice. And so in my mind, I thought, well, it's the obligation is here. And so I stayed for quite a while. And, but yeah, it was really, I think it can be really difficult. There's people out there that love it, and I love that they love it, and I hope that they continue to. And it wasn't for me.
Yeah. So I've discovered something similar for myself.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to go through it yourself. Yeah.
So then what brought you to Idaho? So
my husband got a job as a smoke jumper.
Okay.
And this was back when I was taking a break from counseling. So this was before, deciding to start a private practice, or even thinking I was able to. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and we moved from Arizona to Idaho because he got a job as he was a rookie. So when you're a rookie, it's a lot of training. There's no guarantee. Like some people, I believe they call it washing out. So it's not a guarantee just because you're a rookie that you're going to make through the training. And he made it through, and we moved back to Arizona just for that winter, and he got the full-time job here. And so we've been here ever since. I think my son was 2 weeks when we moved. Oh, wow. And so we've been here ever since. Yeah. And we love it here, which is really nice. But
yeah, it's a nice area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than the smoke we're experiencing right now.
Totally.
So how long has Humble Heart been around
now? So it started, I think back in when was it? Was it 2019, right after we moved here? I had that idea of like, okay, I don't want all of this training to go to waste. I don't want to be a counselor anymore. Maybe I will try and apply for the doctorate program. I thought maybe I'll just teach. I thought that was going to change everything. And it's funny because, anyways, I applied, didn't get in. But they were very positive about, like, oh, we think you should absolutely apply again. And in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, it was just a close call and they just couldn't choose me. And then that second year, I remember sitting there, and one of the students was talking about his day and what he typically did. And he said, and after he was like done talking about teaching, and I could hear it in my soul. And it was just like, oh, that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that. And then immediately was like, of course you do. Of course you want to do that. Like, that's what you're doing, right? It's this idea of like, we try to convince ourselves. So no. This is what this is all about. Well, didn't get in again to that program. And I remember feeling so much shame, embarrassment, like all of the things. And it took me down to a really like anxious, uncomfortable state. And that's when I got into counseling myself for the first time. I always wanted to go to counseling. My mom, she always said that I could only go to counseling if I told her everything I was going to tell the counselor. And so that never happened. And in college, I wanted to go to counseling, and they said that they needed to save the space for people who needed it more. And I didn't, so I never really, it's like, I always felt like it was this thing that I wanted, but I couldn't quite get to. And ended up finding a counselor that I really became like, I think it was the first session. She said, I said, my husband says I should have my own practice, and I don't think I can do that. And she's like, why? I really think you can. And it wasn't until that moment that I was like, oh, maybe I can. So my poor husband like has to take the back seat to like me listening to her. But that was the first kind of person outside of, I guess, the person, my core group. When I say core group, I just mean my husband at that time.
Yeah.
She was the first person to tell me that she thought I could do it. And so at that moment is when I started thinking about it. And I thought, well, I'll just like push it off. Because I think it was in February when I found out, went through this like turmoil. And then it wasn't until October that I did it. So I guess it's not that long. But in my mind, it felt like a long time. But I spent that time building up a website or building up, trying to figure things out. And launched it in October of 2020. That's not true. So I guess I did work for a place called Ginger for a little bit, which was like an EAP online program, now that I think of it. So there was a little bit of a transition from,
Was it easy to get credentialed then here in Idaho from being credentialed there? Or licensed?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Arizona was very much like, you show me everything and I need to see it and I need to know and I need you to like all sorts of stuff. And Idaho was like, oh, did you do this? Okay, cool. But I mean, like it's, they have a process of you can be audited at any time, but like, but it was a lot easier. It helped with some of the trauma that I think I've dealt with Arizona board. Because it was like really difficult down in Arizona. So,
okay.
Yeah. Idaho has been great to work with. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. If anybody Okay. So then you started, and here we are. Like, I would say very successful in terms of lots of clients. What you've done has affected a lot of people, and it's helped us as counselors grow. It's helped us help people, and it's been amazing. Yeah.
And thank you. And I feel as though that is the route, like the mentorship route is kind of what I'm starting to find myself enjoy, is just like, how do I help other people really figure out who they are as a counselor and what it is that they want to, so that we don't have to, I don't think we need to suffer through life. Like, I mean, okay, I'm gonna tell you the story because sometimes you do need to suffer through life a little bit. But, so when we got into the office here, for some reason, the key didn't work on my office lock. So I had to go buy a new lock, and I brought it back, tried to fit it into the hole, and it was too short. And I thought, oh my gosh. And my first thought was like, I'm going to have to like drill through this door. I'm going to have to like all the things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why can't I just, and I took a picture of it and asked AI if I could please extend, like, how can I make this longer? And it was like, no, you can't. So I was like, why can't things just be easy for once? Like, why does it always have to be something? So I rushed back to Home Depot. I returned the item, which is good for me. Sometimes I'll just let it sit for a while. And so return the item, and I go back to the place where the guy was, where all the doorknobs were. And there was a guy working, and I said, I need this, but I need it to be longer. And he's kind of looked at me and he was like, this is a pretty standard size. And I'm like, great. Like, I'm going to have to special order this thing. Like, all of the things came into my head, and he's like, we just don't make them any longer, but did you extend it? And I was like, did I what? And he's like, yeah, you see this latch, you just push this latch and it extends it. And I thought, I was really frustrated because I was like, AI told me I couldn't do that. Yeah. So I went back and bought the same thing that I had just returned, came back, extended it. It fit perfectly.
Nice.
And so what I thought, of course, because everything has to be a story for me, like everything has to have a meaning. I thought to myself of like, yeah, things can be that easy, but sometimes you have to go through the frustration and the discomfort and the lack of information to be able to get that information. And so I'm not saying that I want people to suffer through life, but sometimes that's the way that we learn in order to, what do we do with that information to make it better?
Yeah. I have two things. First, I love that you put meaning to things, because I think we just do that sometimes, but maybe we're not even aware of what meaning or story we've placed on something. I think that's really cool. The other thing I was thinking about is it's more of a Buddhist philosophy of pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with those stories and the meaning that we try to take from those things. But is that, are you familiar with that phrase?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that idea, I mean, the mindset really does make a difference. Just like when we were talking about the race, it's like, yes, you can be really hard on yourself. I spoke to somebody today who said that, they used shame for a while to get through things. And I think I've used shame to try and propel me forward. And what you find is it actually is just not that. It's not that effective. At some point, it stops being effective. And so I'm not saying, I think people are worried that if they are kind to themselves or if they coddle themselves, that they're going to fall behind or they're not going to try as hard. But what I found is the kinder that I am to myself, the more I have this belief that I can do it. Like silly things, like making sure the security door got put on or getting that little kiosk. I'm like, you did it, Stephanie. You said you were going to do it and you did it. Yeah. Like, that's like really exciting. And so, but there's almost this belief that I have of myself in the past of like, I'll spout things out there and they never actually get done. And now I'm starting to show up for myself. The kinder I am, I show up and I say, you said you're going to do this. Now's a good time.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. There's something else came to mind. It's about, my wife and I talk about this a lot. If we're trying to do something, and we've done all kinds of things, businessy things, real estate stuff, all different sorts of things. If we run into enough roadblocks when we're trying to do it and things just keep getting in the way and they don't work out, and there is a point where we've decided in our lives to recognize like maybe this isn't meant to be. And so then I open my mind up to the possibilities of what else then, what am I missing, and what could be the answer. But it's I don't know if it's a fine line, but there's a line there in terms of sometimes you got to push through it. Sometimes you got to recognize this is not the thing.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on that? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like there are, I always take those things as like a sign of like, okay, maybe this isn't the direction I need to be going. So that it's a little easier for me to let go of things. But when I think back to pushing through or like kind of retreating, I think the way that we're taught to, we talked about this a little bit last supervision, which was that, or maybe it wasn't with, I think I talked about it with Nick, but that athletes are actually taught to disconnect from their body because the idea is you're supposed to push through. And so if you don't listen to what's going on, you push through it, you can accomplish really incredible things, but you can also hurt yourself pretty badly. And so whenever I talk to an athlete or somebody who's used to pushing through the pain, a lot of times that means a disconnection with their body. And so what I find a good difference is one, learning how you make decisions, but also honoring whatever it is. Like if you can be in your body and really say like, is this something I can push through, or is this something that I need to step back from? that is going to give you all the information you need, and you're going to feel good about the decision moving forward. Like, so when I was doing the race, that 10K, and I said to myself, like, you can stop if you want to, but I actually think you can keep going. That was me pushing through a little discomfort. And so, but it's when people think at all costs, like, I need to do this at all costs. That's regardless of what my body is telling me. That is when they start to find themselves injured. Or, I just read this article recently, and it was a woman who was, it could have been like an article about a TikTok, I don't know, but I read it. And she was like so close to the summit of, I can't remember what mountain. My brain skips details like that. But she was almost there, and she realized that she didn't really have the technical skills to accomplish it safely. So even though she could see it, she knew she was close. She's had to turn around because she recognized that her goal was to get home safely, like above all else. So if that means, and stopping this now, maybe learning those technical skills or getting a little bit more proficient, and then she can come back, then that's what it meant. Yeah. And so people sometimes think like, I have to do this, and if I don't do this, everybody's going to think something of me. Yeah. But ultimately, when you honor yourself, you can feel good about the decision because you know that your intuition is speaking to you, your body is speaking to you. And that is how I don't know, in my opinion, that's how you know when to push or when to retreat. I guess.
So going within to listen to what's happening. Yeah.
And I forgot, Amanda, is it the gymnast? Is it Amanda Biles? You might have to edit this
Biles?
out. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
And she got a lot of flack for taking her mental health seriously. Yeah. She's like, I can't be safe on the mat. And that I love that she did that. Yeah. Because it's huge. It's so hard for somebody who's at that level of athlete to be willing to honor herself and her body and to listen. And people think that disconnection is a good thing, and it's really not. The more that you're connected, the more you can do amazing things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny too, because there were different camps of people and what they thought about Simone. That's it.
Simone Biles. Yes. Yeah. I was thinking Amanda. I was thinking, somebody.
Just hearing different people, like kids these days, whatever their philosophies were, and listening to that and being like, wow, okay. But what I heard was what I think you heard is she was taking care of those things first. Because you get injured doing what she does. Right?
Yeah.
So, that's a really good example of that. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Let's see. To honor your time, let's maybe wrap this up. I do want to ask this question. I'm going to ask this of all my guests, but it is about the why. So I have conflicting beliefs about this in terms of what you're supposed to do. So if I go to do a really hard event, depending on what that is, I had been taught from a really young age, you got to know your why, or you won't finish it, or you won't do it, or whatever. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. My question to you is, what do you think?
Yeah. I think at one point I would have agreed that you need to know your why. Now I live in a space that's very much like, I have no idea. I have no idea what's next. So I don't even know what a why could be, except for being, maybe the why is just being true to myself and who it is that I want to be as a person, as a business owner, whatever that is, right? Maybe that's my why. But ultimately, I think living in the, I don't know yet mentality is a great place to be, because we have a very limited view of what we think we're capable of. I always tell the story that we were at the ocean, and out in the distance we saw a seal, and my son had a little monoscope, and he's like, where is it? And he's trying to find the seal with this little monoscope. And we're like, no, lay it down, look at the big picture. And then when you see the seal, then you can look through it. And I think of it like that. A lot of times we will look at life in this very small view of what we think we're capable of, what we think life will allow us to be capable of. And so whenever we're willing to lay that down and say like, actually just, I'm going to just look at the big picture, see what's exciting to me and go in that direction, then we're capable of so much more than we could ever even like imagine or, cook up. But we always, as human beings, we always need to know like why, like, okay, how is this going to happen? Okay, I'm going to talk to somebody, and we always have to have a reason or some sort of formula for why it's going to work. And what I found is when I just like, I don't know, I have no idea, I tend to just go to the next right thing. And that next right thing takes me to the next right thing. And the more I live in that, the more I feel less pressure to have to do anything a certain way. And I feel it feels a lot just easier. Like I'm able to flow through life as opposed to, I guess, muddle through it.
Yeah. That's very present moment, present moment focused is what I, yeah. Ooh, that story is perfect. Yeah. I got the visual right away and I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay. One more question. If there is, somebody out there that actually hears this and they're having a rough time, they're trying to figure something out, or maybe they have a hard event faced in front of them, whatever it is, something difficult. Do you have anything for them?
Yeah. Reach out. Like reach out to me, if you don't, I think the thing that gets me frustrated the most is when somebody is willing to reach out for help and then nobody gets back to them. Mm-hmm. So I've told you this, I've told everybody this, that when somebody reaches out to us, we need to be in their inbox within 24 hours. Like somebody needs to reach out because to get to the point when you're willing to, that means that you really have, some people have never thought about counseling before and they really need to. So, even if I'm not accepting clients right now, but it doesn't matter. Reach out to me. I'll help you find the right counselor, whether it be somebody within Humble Heart Counseling or one of the other amazing counselors I know. Just reach out.
Okay. And that's a great segue to, well, how do they reach out? What are some links?
Well, so you can always reach out to me through Humble Heart Counseling or www.humbleheartcounseling.com. Mm-hmm. We have a Psychology Today profile with Humble Heart Counseling where all of the people are in that Psychology Today profile. We're online. You can email me at info@humbleheartcounseling.com or Stephanie@humbleheartcounseling.com. It's very, there are many ways, and I'm very much attentive to messages. So whether it be email or a phone call or through the contact form on our website.
Okay. Well, I'll put a few of those links anyway. I won't put your phone number on there, I don't think, but I'll put the other links on. Oh, I guess it's fine to put your.
Yeah, it's on there. It's like, it's out there.
It's open for the public. So yeah, I'll put those links in the description. So if anybody is watching and you want to get in touch. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Is there anything else that you feel like, oh, I really wanted to share this too? And because I don't always remember to ask all the questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that.
I'm going to end this podcast, I think the same way that I ended it with your wife when I was on her podcast.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one thing that I tell people. So I don't give out the homework that, like you need to write this down or whatever. But I think in any given situation, expanding your awareness around it. So whether you're doing something challenging and you're starting to find yourself slowing down or like expanding your awareness around it can help you determine if you're going to move forward or if you need to pull back. If you're having anxiety or if you're feeling a certain way, just expanding your awareness can help you almost separate from, it's like we tend to feel like we have to label things. So, like, oh, this is anxiety. But really, if you expand your awareness around it, it actually is just my body, my heart pounding, or it's just like my body chattering, or it doesn't have to be that we are we are completely engrossed in it. We can actually expand our awareness to where we notice that we are separate from these feelings. Feelings aren't facts. So they're just something that we use to assign a label to what it is that we're experiencing. What we're feeling is just physiological. So my advice to all people is the more that you can expand your awareness, the more that you are going to able to have more information for how you want to move forward.
Okay. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right on. One other thought came to my head. It's totally not probably going to make it in here. Do you think those redwood trees are conscious?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
You. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, how could you not be? Like the amount of... I mean, their bark is so thick that whenever a fire would come through, it allows it to burn the inside because all the nutrients come from the outside. Like, it's just intuitive in so many ways. If it gets cut down, it knows how to regenerate. Like, it is they're just magical. And can I give a plug to Western Spirit?
Go for it.
Because the Western Spirit is the company we went through. And I just thought it was the best way to ever adventure with, especially with 2 young kids, but they do technical things as well. So you could be, if you love riding bikes, if you love hiking, they have amazing trips where they're guided, and it's reasonably priced, and but they're just wonderful people, and I will never adventure any other way. And so Western Spirit. Yeah.
Right on. Okay. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and shut it down here. But cool. Thanks again for agreeing to do this with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've loved having you on.
You're welcome. Yeah. It was great being here. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Take care.